Hello, my food mood friends. How are you? Nice to see you. Welcome. Chandra is an Odyssey. I have a topic today that I'll also want to share some personal updates on, and it has to do with routine, sleep, scheduling, home base, settling down.
Welcome! Here is your hostess and coach, Chandra, helping people make food and mood changes doable without missing out. Go ahead, high five that like button, subscribe and share while you're there.
And we are going to go pick those things up this weekend. I put a good portion of my stuff in storage 8 years ago, and I just rented a U-Haul this morning, and we're going to go pick up our stuff and move in to our new townhouse in Reno. And so I was talking with a couple of my clients recently. It's come up about routine and the importance of routine. And one of them knows me really well. She's also in my personal life. And she says, well, you know a lot about moving and traveling, because she's also moving and traveling quite a bit and struggling with routine and struggling with doing home cooked food and taking care of her body and self-care and walking and exercise. And I definitely know firsthand experience, it's challenging to not have a routine, especially when it comes to our health and well-being, that we humans really thrive on routine. And so every time we transition, we move to a new time zone, we move to a new location, I've just come to realize that we spend a good portion of our first weeks or sometimes months at a place creating a new routine. And I've really watched this in my little one. My little one is now 4.5 by the time I'm making this video. And I have seen firsthand experience in how much more attention she needs when we're going through a transition and when we're out of routine. I mean, our routine is rather loose. We don't particularly have a bedtime routine. We're more free flowing. And routine is really important. I find that, our brain actually stays more awake the first night that we're in a new place out of survival. And so our sleep is different when we're out of routine or we're in a new place. Our digestion changes, our stress levels change, we're more alert, we're more hyper aware. And so to get into a routine and have kind of a familiar expected pattern is really kind of calming and relieving to our systems. And I really watch it in my little one. I've just come to know that whenever we're going through a routine, a transition, a few weeks before and at least a few weeks after, I just expect and plan for it to really give her a lot more attention. She likes to spend a lot more time on my lap. She wants me to sit in the back seat and hold her hand. She really wants me to sleep with her. She needs me to kind of ground and remind her, on the midst of all this chaos and all this newness, that everything's okay and she's grounded and okay. And so I've really looked at her experience and what she's just naturally needed and applied it a lot to realizing how true it's also for me. I find that exercise is one of the things that is so important to my well-being. And it's also one of the things that goes a couple weeks before we transition and doesn't come back into place for a few weeks after. And, there's some kind of normalcy, moving and traveling and being out, it takes a lot of energy and time. There's a lot of other things to deal with. And so it makes sense that some things have to go. And yet I know that exercise is one of the things that makes me the happiest and the most on. It makes my body feel good and my mind and my emotions. We just got a new membership at the climbing gym here. And after the first day of climbing, I was just oh, I needed that. I needed that shift, that physiological shift in my body. And so it's really great to have a workout routine for our well-being, for our mental state, our emotional state, our physical state, obviously, but there's more to it than that. And I also find that having a routine and kind of, with different people, we have different needs for novelty and excitement and newness versus safety, stability. And my partner is definitely much more on the wanting freedom than wanting safety. I'm more on the wanting, in compared to him, I'm more on the line of wanting more kind of grounded. Hello, my friend. How are you? I'm in the Dead Sea floating in the water. Go ahead and like and share and follow so we can keep in touch. lot to do with sleep. And so I wanted to also touch in on sleep today because I haven't talked a whole lot about sleep, but over the last year, I have really struggled with my sleep. And I know that it has been connected to my caffeine consumption. And that's something that if you followed me on my 40th birthday, you know that I gave up drinking coffee, which is not totally stuck. To be in full disclosure, I now have 1 cup of caffeine, either coffee or mate in the morning, and then that's it, which is a big change for me. But I do like alternating coffee and mate, and it's working for me. But I did definitely cut out any later day caffeine, and that really helps my sleep. But even more than the coffee and the caffeine component is a lot about the stress and a lot about feeling settled and having a routine and feeling grounded. And so I have really had to do or chosen to do some more emotional work on how do I regulate my stress, take care of myself in a way that I really feel grounded and really prioritize my routine as a way to really help myself feel more grounded and able to sleep. And so I've really approached sleep. There's been also a number of other things that I've researched and tried with sleep, but I feel like this is one of the big linchpins of figuring out my sleep. While I had like kind of a crazy year of sleep, I do feel like I definitely have it shifted my relationship to sleep and learned a lot about sleep. I did a lot of deep research and a lot of self-experimentation and playing with like, well, what are the factors here? And the stability I know is one of them for me, like feeling unstable emotionally, physically, mentally. And mentally, I mean like in my thoughts and like worst case scenarios and stressing out and ruminating and worrying and all those indulgent emotions that don't really serve us and keep us up and get our hormones going and our physiology going. And so in realizing like when I don't have a home and when we're in transition and when we're moving a lot and when I don't have routine, how do I take care of myself in a way that I can really ground myself and create the hormones and the physiological effects and the low stress levels so that my body is in a place that it feels comfortable sleeping. I like to think about like my physiology, like how can I take care of my physiology so that it can best be supported and then best like function. You know, I find that I'm finding all these interesting stories and with my clients of like, we're focusing on one thing and we're focusing like on the whole system, like on supporting well-being in the entire system, mentally, emotionally, physical health, diet, stress, lifestyle. But what's happening is like things that they weren't necessarily wanting to like address, they're coming to sessions and they're like, oh, this, you know, my lipoma like suddenly went away, or I'm like suddenly sleeping better, or like these healthy side effects from like just addressing well-being. And so I really find that in the end, it's all super connected, like what we're eating, how our stress is, what our routine's like, what our lifestyle is like, you know, essentially lifestyle. You can put routine under the lifestyle category. What is the lifestyle? Are you in hotels from, you know, every week? Are you traveling on planes and changing time zones? Are you, you know, sleeping the same hours, having a routine? I really love, there was a podcast that Sam Harris did with, I don't remember the sleep expert's name. And he talked about like, you know, we all have alarms to wake up. What about having an alarm to go to bed? And it really like clicked for me of like the importance of having a routine around sleep, like setting a time that your body is like used to that rhythm. Same thing with our appetite. You know, we have these hunger hormones that create hunger and there's a routine and they just go off, but we can actually reprogram them by creating a new routine and then they'll adjust and then you'll get hungry at those new times. Like routine is, you know, essential to every like system in our body. And so I guess the big takeaway that I'd like to offer you for this video is like, if something's off in your body, whether it's your sleep or your digestion or your immune system or even your mood or really anything in your health, like where is a possibility for you to bring in a routine that would support that system, that would create grounded regularity, familiarity in order for that part of your system to function better. Like I do really find that like the more we support ourselves, which has a lot to do with routine, the more our systems just kind of take care of themselves. I really love looking at this like root cause way of thinking of health and well-being and solving health issues and feeling amazing and being able to function amazing. And yeah, so I've been figuring out how to create routines and bounce all over the place and take care of myself amidst all of the lacks of routine and really prioritizing implementing routine. And now I am really excited to settle down and have more of a grounded home routine. I'm really, really, really happy about this. And so, yeah, next week, well, this weekend, we're moving, and next week we'll be in our new home. And yeah, I'm jazzed. I think one of the things that I'm most excited about is having my kitchen tools back. And I like to have like my food processor and my juicer and, you know, all of the different food cooking tools. It's one of my favorite things and one of the things I'm most looking forward to, and having our home and having, you know, we've been traveling light with, my husband actually travels with a knife because he really loves having a really nice sharp knife, but we don't travel with many kitchen tools. We do travel with a foam roller. It's actually not a foam roller, it's a type of foam roller, and a massage gun. For self-care, we do travel with these because these are essential, especially when you don't have a good massage person. You're traveling, so you don't know who's the local people. These two, I was actually thinking about doing a podcast on these because they are a big part of my routine and physical self-care for feeling good. All right, my friends, I'm going to wrap this one up. I will see you next week, and I hope you have a beautiful time, and thank you so much.